everybody, and welcome to the show. We are excited to be here today. Going to have my friend Terry Newsom on. Terry has been doing some really good stuff in Chicago. Really good stuff. And he's got some real crazy things going on. He had a big story that was written about his work in the New York Post. And I think it's a very important story. It actually reflects the upcoming civil unrest we're going to see thanks to Harris and her open borders, all sorts of things. So we're also going to talk a little bit about Tim Walz and how he must have felt acting as the head of a mop while J.D. Vance was pushing him around the stage. It was an embarrassment last night. Walz just was, he was crushed. He was out of his league. It was a sad and embarrassing moment. I actually a couple times almost felt embarrassed for him. If he wasn't such a radical liar, I would have probably felt a little bit bad, but I didn't feel too bad. So we'll talk about that. I want to open up with my my intro grift, because we are grifters here. And actually, if we don't grift, we don't get to do this. We are in business because you support us. We are in business because, if you don't donate, if you don't support our affiliates, we can't do this. Unfortunately, fighting bad guys is not free. And God knows Google and everybody else does everything they can to undermine us. So please go to www.tomrenz.com, www.tomrenz.com. Check out our shop. We got a bunch of new stuff. The whole Harry Balls line, Harry Balls 24, play on Harris Walz. Some new hats, some new T-shirts, great stuff. All sorts of good things there. And make sure you're checking out our affiliates, especially if you go to tomrenz.com, check out the affiliate page. They're all great, but please make sure you're checking out Cardio Miracle. Great product to protect your cardiovascular system, especially in a time when we have all these issues with COVID vaccines and shedding. Even if you didn't get them, this is important to keep your heart healthy, keep your heart safe. Cardio Miracle, and also bh-pm.com. bh-pm.com. I saw a report today that people are saying that there could be up to 10x increase in the value of gold coming up. It's insane. Please consider putting a part of your portfolio, your retirement, whatever, into gold or silver. Talk to the experts. They'll know what to do, what's best. You can go to bh-pm.com. You can see it on our affiliate page, or you can just go there and tell them Ren sent you, whatever you need. All right. Last but not least, please donate. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw or at TomRenz.com. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw or at TomRenz.com. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my buddy Terry on. We're going to talk a little bit about Tim Walz and the absolutely humiliating performance that he had yesterday. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming gang wars that we're going to be seeing around the country, starting in Chicago, and what's going to be happening. And the Harris plan to destabilize our nation so that she can declare martial law and destroy our Constitution, because God knows John Kerry, Kamala Harris, Bill Gates, they don't want a Constitution. It's clearly causing them problems, especially that censorship thing. Folks, they really don't like that people like me can talk about the truth and share the truth. It's really inconvenient that we're able to do that. So without further ado, here's my friend Terry. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Tom. Thanks for having me back. Appreciate it.
Glad to have you. And I know, and Terry is from Chicago, and Terry, for anybody that doesn't know or hasn't seen Terry in the past, Terry's become a pretty good friend to me, and we've done a bunch of work together. And the guy's a fighter, right? So I grew up, and he wasn't exactly a good guy growing up. And I don't think you mind me saying that, Terry. I mean, he did. Like all of us do, sometimes in our youth, we do stupid things. Terry was amongst us, those of us who did stupid things. Some of us do stupider things than others, and he may have leaned into that a little bit. It's okay, though. College was the best 8-10 years out of my life. I can't remember. I mean, we all did stupid things in our youth, and Terry was amongst them. But, here's the great thing. As a Christian, as an American, once you go through something like that, you have the opportunity to become a better man, Terry did that. And he is truly a good man who is truly fighting and using everything that he learned from those mistakes to help save our country, to see what's going on. So he's got some great reporting on the ground in Chicago, which Chicago's critical, folks, because it's a roadmap for what's occurring in our cities around the country. They can do anything they want in Chicago because it's one of the most corrupt cities on the planet. And so, what they're doing there is what they want to do elsewhere and what they are doing elsewhere. California, the big cities, the East, West Coast, big cities, it's critical. And so Terry's been reporting on that. But before we do that, I want to talk about, Terry, did you watch the VP debate last night? Any chance you saw that?
Yep. I was in a Southwest Side bar after my confrontation watching it in the old neighborhood.
There you go. There you go. Well, I mean, that's about as good as it gets. And that's actually the best answer I've ever heard. The bars outside of Chicago, watch it. Okay. I mean, so you were out there. What were people saying? What was the mood in the bar after that? I mean, were people just, you're talking about leftist Chicago, so you got a very strong left-wing presence there. But I mean, still, it had to be a little bit cringeworthy in a few parts.
Yeah, it was. I grew up. My dad worked for the city. It was Robbie Corso owns Angie's since I was a little kid, and I haven't seen him forever. And we knew right off the bat that he was like nervous, right?
It was bad.
It was like, holy shit, And I don't know these other people at the bar. Most of them are vote Republican now, and I could hear what they're saying. They're against them, but then I hear when what's his Vance? Oh, he had to say that. So there's kind of like a little balance of some things going on there. But what really got me, I think he had a missed opportunity when Walz was attacking these ex-Trumpers that were going on their side, right, and supporting against. Well, why didn't he say, wait a minute, your whole family is on my side? Do you even talk to him?
Oh yeah,
he missed that, right?
Yeah. That would have been nice. That would have been good. There were a few missed opportunities. There's some things I'd like to say, but I mean, listen, if you're in a courtroom, if you're doing a debate and you're doing it live, it's really easy to miss things in the Monday morning quarterback. It's like, man, I wish you had thought of that. But I will tell you, I thought Vance did a great job. I actually was super impressed with him. There were a couple little things I was like, man, I wish you'd have said that. But overall, it's easy for me to sit at home and watch chat and say, I would have said this. But if you're up there and you're doing it real time, but you're right, man. Walz came out and it was deer in headlights. I mean, that guy was scared. I mean, it was ugly. It was ugly. And, he kind of went through a lot of word salads. Did you think, and I got no evidence to back this up, but did you notice how many times he started to stutter, then stopped, like he was listening or looking, and he was so focused, his eyes were like, it's very, very focused. It's like, I don't know what it looked like he was getting cues from somewhere. I mean, it was really weird.
I think he was trying to listen to the question at the same time, listen to what he's supposed to say. Well, listen to the question. Am I supposed to say this? I was told, I think he was getting mixed up between that and the nerves. And then another thing that stood out to me the most, not just with Vance, but with us as Republicans, when these guys get on their soapbox, I care about women's rights. I want the woman's right to choose. Well, listen, scumbag, what about Title IX and the little girl that wants to not play sports against a man? Yeah. You don't care about their rights then. You don't let a woman choose on, competing against other women. You don't care about that. Well, faces in that.
Well, remember, they also, they had no problem. And one of the things I really wish Vance would have said, but there's no way because he's not going to get into this, but they had no problem forcing vaccines on women.
Yeah.
Experimental gene therapy drugs into the arms of all sorts of women. It's my body, my choice, but not when it comes to an experimental gene therapy. Those, well, that's off limits. We don't want to bring that up. Yeah. But, at the end of the day, listen, Walz, did you hear the line? Did you hear when Walz said, yeah, I'm friends with a lot of those school shooters?
Yes. I didn't I didn't pick. I'm like, I heard it, but then
did he just say that?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? What an idiot.
Oh, man.
Stupid and nerves.
And I know he misspoke. And, like I said, it's a lot easier to sit and watch someone do this and say, well, I'd have did it different than to actually be the one doing it. But I will tell you, it was an embarrassment. Yeah. I thought that Vance did an incredible. So I'm pretty rabid pro-life, and that ain't going to change. But I thought that Vance did an incredible job on that. And one of the things that I think is really interesting on it was, they threw it back to the states, and that's where constitutionally it's got to be, right? It's got to be there. That's really, really a crucial thing. So that, from a legal perspective, there's nothing we can do with that, right? That is a necessary, it's a requirement, it's just phenomenal. But the thing about it is once it's there, for my pro-life brothers and sisters, we got to do a little bit better job. And having, a federal program promoting pro-family, that's about the best we can ask for under the law. You cannot have a federal ban on abortions any more than you can have a federal ban on preventing abortions. Either way doesn't work under the 10th Amendment. And that's just the way it is. So, asking for a federal ban on abortions really is futile. It doesn't matter. It's got to be a states' rights issue under the Constitution. So, I thought that Vance did a great job, but if we have a pro-family administration, that's going to make a huge impact on that whole abortion issue. So I thought Vance did an incredible job of explaining that. Yeah. And I thought that was a remarkable moment in that. I also liked how he kept coming back on the immigration to everything, because immigration is really, that's Trump's bread and butter. There is no one better on immigration. And they tried to bait him with that whole that absurd, hey, how's he gonna what are you gonna do, separate families? Meanwhile, you've got 320,000 kids missing, and I love that Vance brought that up. You want to talk about separating families? The 320,000 kids that DHS is allowed to be trafficked and murdered and put into sex slavery, that's separating families. You want to talk about a problem? There's the problem. Allowing illegals to come into this country the way they are, that's separating families. Letting the coyotes bring these kids across the border after they're sold into slavery. That's separating families. And I love that the way Vance kind of broke that down. You guys see that in Chicago. You guys got massive number of immigrants over there.
Yeah, and this is timely, right? Because you have such a big platform, and then people like us are attacked on our side, like about the cats, right, in Ohio. Oh, that's fake. I get attacked about.
It's not fake. It's not fake. I'm from Ohio. It's not that far from me.
But these people do this in their own countries. Normally, China eats cats and stuff. So all of a sudden, we're making it up, like with the stuff I have and the FOIAs that I have. And I look forward to, not just exposing them here with you, but we have time now. I live in a Democratic, well, I live in the suburb, but, Chicago's Democrat, blue, right? Yeah. This is evidence. I had a debate with an investigative reporter. Well, until you show me hard evidence, I go, that's the first time I heard that police reports aren't hard evidence. In my opinion, we have evidence of human sex trafficking, child porn, grooming, and your platform. And as you compile this stuff, we need to show this. It's only been mentioned in New York Post, some of my little podcasts. We have evidence from the Blue City, what's going on. And Trump needs to show this. This is inside tax-funded shelters. We took care of them. We flew them up here. We put them in clothes. We gave them phones. They're using our phones to commit crimes against us while we're housing them. And they get a get out of jail free card.
Well, I will tell you something, and I'm looking forward to looking at that evidence, seeing what we can do with it. Because I'm happy to weaponize it and to do whatever we can with it. And if we can do something in the courts or do something elsewhere, we will. But if not, remember, lawfare is legal, political PR, so we can bring it out and weaponize it in the media as well. We're going to fight. We're going to do what we do, right? We fight from every angle. We don't care how we get it done. We just want the bad guys to be miserable. And the more miserable we make them, the better my life is, because ain't nothing but makes me happier than that. But I loved the way that no matter what they did, he brought it back to the immigration issues, housing. And he's right. One of the most remarkable questions that was asked the whole night is, can you explain how you think that these immigrants, bringing in a bazillion immigrants is impacting the pricing of housing? That was the dumbest question. I have never heard anything more stupid in my life. Okay, if 1 million people buy 1 million houses, that means there's 1 million houses off the market. Has anybody ever heard of supply and demand here?
Yeah.
But
Right.
those two moderators, I mean, they weren't even like trying to be independent. I mean, they were just absolutely, and I love that Vance called them out on the fact check. That was the best moment of the night in my mind, when he called them out and said, and he just interrupted, he just talked, because they broke the rules just like they planned to. And after that, they did back down a little bit on that. He stood his ground. He did it the right way. That was incredible. And that's what you got to expect. Listen, when Trump in the last debate, while Kamala was listening through her magic earrings and, getting coached and this, that, and other, and they were fact checking Trump. The thing about it is when I watched that debate, I wasn't surprised by anything there. I mean, I was probably a little less fussy about the moderators than other people. I didn't, during the debate, know it appeared, but I didn't know how she was getting signaled until I saw that the earrings were those radio earrings. And then, I didn't realize at that time that they had agreed to no fact checking, but, they were liars. But the thing about it is I expect, if you go into any debate, of course, the media is going to be all in the tank for Harris. But this one, I thought they were even more biased than they were against Trump, because they didn't even try and hide it. I mean, they were just outright there. So
yeah, they were leading him on. And I to your point about Vance, I think he did great. Like, both of us are fighters, right? Like flight. As always, fight, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, hit him harder. But I think his strategy wasn't. I think he came across as this Midwest guy, and I think he purposefully was controlling his tone. And I think he did. As at the end of the, I'm like, you know what? I think he achieved a goal of getting some of these people who think he's a demon. And he did a really good job, and he didn't have to hammer them. And I think it was a success. I really do. I was hoping at first, get him, hit him, call out the field. What the hell? It's like, at the end, I'm like, you know what? I think I know what he's doing, and I think it was successful.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen him, get those knockdowns. But I think for Vance especially, he needed to be a little more friendly and reasonable. And, I mean, Trump is the guy who's going to punch you in the face, and we want that from Trump.
Yeah.
Him having a more tempered running mate seems like a good thing to me, in terms of, public perceptions. I thought it was well done. I was really excited about the way that went for Trump. And this is it, right? We're at a point now where, this next election, I mean, we know the fight's going to continue. We know that the real fight's going to start after the election, and it's for the soul of America. I mean, the 2030 agenda is what it is. And we're getting closer. And, the globalists have all said, the plan for globalism is going to either live or die based on the outcome of this election. I disagree with them, because I'm going to tell you something. One thing they haven't seen is the American people have been pushed, but they forgot something. They forgot how eventually we said we've had enough on the COVID stuff. That's going to be times 1,000 coming up, because people are so tired. They're still sick from the COVID stuff, still tired of the COVID stuff. And if you think we the people are going to be willing to sit back down and tolerate more of this BS, I got news for these guys. We the people have had enough, and there's enough of us now. And this is thanks to them overplaying their hand on COVID. But there are enough of us now that we're not going to sit down. We're not going to let them destroy our country. I see, these headlines in New Yorker and elsewhere about, it's time to burn the Constitution over my dead something body. I'm not supposed to swear anymore, Terry.
I was told the same thing.
I'm so proud of you. I was about to edit, make a note.
I slip one. I've got Christian friends, older people that love the show, and they call me afterwards. And sometimes I slip, and I call them up by name. I go, "I'm so sorry. Don't call me. I won't do it again."
We're blessed. We've been picked up by a lot of partners. We've got a lot of different groups that are running our show, and we're growing quickly. His Glory is one of them. I love my brothers and sisters at His Glory, and we're doing real well over there as well. But they don't. Well, they're a church, And as a church, they're doing what a church ought to do, trying to make me a little bit better. And they've done that by reminding me that, hey, maybe I should not swear so much. I've told them, I'm like, listen, I'm a lawyer. I'm lucky I got a soul, but but anyways, but over my dead body, am I going to stand aside? And we during COVID, the more they pushed, the harder we fought, and that's true, right? And that will be the same thing again. Don't push us. We'll do what's necessary. We will do what's necessary to keep our country free. It'll be lawful. It'll be proper. But if you think we're going to stand aside, it ain't going to happen.
And we have more people now that saw what happened and are going to be on our side than if it happens again. So,
Yep. And if they thought we did some things with COVID fighting back, I got news for them, because when we started COVID, guys like me had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting with people now.
Mm-hmm.
So you go ahead and try that again, and we'll see what happens. Listen, God's been good to me and allowed us, people like you and I've met. We got people all over the country, warriors, people willing to fight. And, like I said, so we're good on that. I think that at the end of the day, Walz, his veneer, because they try and play him off like he's some sort of, listen, no more ridiculous moment could exist than when he said, no, I own guns and I'm a hunter. Kamala Harris owns guns. Kamala Harris wouldn't know what to do with a gun if it got stuck up her rear.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. That buffoon, she probably shouldn't own a gun. I think she's got a serious, serious problem with either drugs or alcohol based on the way she talks. And I don't even want her to have a gun. I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
It shows how dumb the electorate is now. It really is. Some of these people believe this crap. I was raised with them. My mom's 85. My mom and dad both, alive, thank God. And my mom still talks to her friends on the Southwest side. She's the only one that became a Republican. And she got mad when I first started transitioning. And they're like, she brags about her son. They don't want to hear it. They bring up all this crazy stuff that's not even true because they're in this bubble.
You just gave me an idea. I don't know if Short Stack is listening. So Short Stack, Frankie Rodriguez, helps us with a lot of stuff, and she does a lot of our designs. But we definitely need to do a whole line of shirts and things like that on TomRuns.com. Hey, I'm in support of transitioning to the Republican Party. Transitioning to MAGA. I like MAGA better than the Republican Party.
Yeah. I say that I speak now. When I transition, not the LGBT kind.
Yeah. No, I love that. We need everybody to transition to MAGA. We actually need the Republican Party to transition to MAGA, but that's another story. But as you well know, and as we've chronicled in past shows with you, that there's been a number of issues with GOP sellouts there in your area, and MAGA and GOP are not equal. We need to rid the GOP of anyone that's not MAGA. They are certainly not the same thing. And last thing on Walz and his absolute shellacking.
Mm-hmm.
Most cringeworthy moment of the night. I got to tell you, when they asked him about Tiananmen Square and then asked him about it again, I almost felt uncomfortable. That guy was caught in a lie, had nothing to say about it. It was an absolute embarrassment. And the best part is that they couldn't even blame that on Vance. The moderators actually asked that question. I think they had to. But it was so egregious, and it was just downright embarrassing. What was the reaction in the bar when that was? Did you hear anything?
I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot it. That was my third point on the show as well, right? And I said out loud, I'm like, that's a long explanation that I effing lied. That's what I yelled out to my friend. He went, 2 minutes or what? He said I do goofy things or something. I'm like, basically, he took all that time to think that we're not going to know that he lied. To try to divert the attention, and I did some goofy things, and I lied. That's what it was, right? I lied.
Oh yeah. No, it was pretty blunt and pretty blatant, and man, that was painful.
Yeah,
that was painful. I got to be honest with you. Um, it, it was hurting. Um, One of the things that became apparent yesterday, and producer Andrea, we are going to. I want to play the trailer for the movie here in just a second, but so we're working with some people. They did a movie. It's called Beneath Sheep's Clothing, and it's actually really good. A lot of the conservative like documentary movies are awful. This one I actually enjoyed. It was well done, and they tied together a lot of what we're seeing and some of the stuff we're going to talk about here in a minute. And what they're talking about is the rise of communism in the Soviet Union and how that's exactly what's happening today. It's a little bit different, but it's what's happening. And it's happening in a pretty profound way. And I want people to support this movie. It's beneathsheepsclothing.com. We want this movie to be out there. I want to see it everywhere. Terry, if you need to take a look at it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
Yeah. Because what's happening in America right now is very similar to what happened in that movie, or what they talk about. I mean, they lay it all out, and they actually tie it in with Harris and her border policy, or her policies across the board. And I mean, yeah, I don't know if people know, but her unburdened by the things that have happened line, that's straight from Karl Marx. So, anyways, I want to. This is the trailer. I want to show you guys this. This movie was really. This was something. So anyways, if you could run that for us, producer Andrea. We need some sound there. Do we have sound? No, we're not having any sound here. Uh-oh. We got a sound issue. All right. Well, let's see if we can get the sound issue fixed, and then try that here again in a second. But this movie is we're going to send producer Andrea a message here.
One of the most consequential lies of history is that Karl Marx put forth an economic theory or doctrine. He did not. He put forth a totalitarian religion. This was a rape of the body of Christ.
Amen.
He said the ultimate objective was to destroy Christianity. Those are his words.
And Khrushchev bragged about it. We'll take America without firing a shot.
Hi, I'm here to impoverish, enslave, and murder you.
They were actual communists.
That is all you can see.
We have to stay woke.
There are ravening wolves in sheep's clothing all over the place.
The thing that people are not understanding, and that's why we're promoting this movie, because honestly, so I mean, I research all over the place. I look at stuff all over the place. The thing that people are not understanding is this is actually happening, and it's happening now, and it's happening in this country. And one of the most foundational aspects of this is the destruction of faith and the destruction of family. These are things that are necessary, right? Christianity is founded on the concept of freedom. You freely choose to believe or not believe, but it's ultimately freedom. They have to destroy Christianity. They can't have a higher authority than the government, right? And that's it. The churches have been infiltrated. The country's being damaged. It's a foundational thing, and we're doing this through cultural revolution. We're bringing in criminals. They're not bringing in, by the way, they're not bringing in people who are good people that just so happened to we just want to come here and be refugees and assimilate to your culture. No, they're bringing in criminals, and they're doing terrible things with them. And so this is a foundational thing. So this is about the destruction of America. This is about the destruction of freedom, the Constitution, our culture. That's why they need them to vote. That's why they're registering these people illegally to vote all over. And I'm just going to tell you guys, if we have a Harris presidency, we are doomed. We are doomed. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll die on my feet before I live on my knees, and we'll keep fighting. And you can stay tuned here, and we'll keep doing what we can right up till they arrest us because we violate the rules for censorship. Because I will not be censored. I just won't. It is absolutely against the Constitution, and we'll fight for it. But But they will censor us by trying to minimize our reach. They will attack Elon Musk. They will attack Twitter. They will attack Truth Social. They will attack every single outlet out there. That Rumble will be attacked. Yeah, you name it. If you're a free speech platform, you will be attacked, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be real ugly, folks. So we better get going. And before we get into fully on the Chicago stuff, which is where we're going now, please support us at TomRenz.com, www.tomrenz.com. Check out our shop. We got the Harry Balls line of T-shirts and other such things going on. So Harry Balls 2024 and hats. Shortstock's got a really cool hat in there.
Well, after the radiation for the prostate cancer, I can't buy one of your shirts.
Why is that? You need to get two of them if you're doing that. You need two of them.
Get my joke? You know, the
yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, for anybody that's a little bit slow here, there was a reference to Harry Balls 2024, but radiation because Terry's been fighting prostate cancer. Hair radiation, Harry. Okay, I just that wasn't. Producer Andrea, that wasn't off color, so where we don't have to censor that.
No, you're both gentlemen today. I'm proud of both of y'all.
There we go. That, by the way, was a really funny joke. Yeah, you caught me by surprise on that one a little bit. But anyways, now so check out the shop. Also check out our affiliates. Listen, we really work hard to have the right affiliates there. And whatever you need, we've got a provider for it. We got Mike Adams and Brighteon. If you need survival food, Brighteon's awesome. If you need, and you should have gold in your portfolio, so bh-pm.com. You absolutely just talk to them about, you're rolling over your IRAs, your 401ks, whatever you need. But please make sure you're checking on that. If you need supplements, we got a bunch of supplements for top line supplements. Really, really good people providing great stuff. Cardio Miracle being one of my favorites. If you're not on Cardio Miracle, and listen, you're getting exposed to the spike protein, whether you got the jab or not. It messes with your cardiovascular system. Myocarditis, anybody? Check out Cardio Miracle. You really need whatever you can do to protect that. It's crucial. So please make sure you're checking out our affiliates, support it. Donate. We need donations. You can donate at TomRenz.com, or you can go to GiveSendGo.com/RenzLaw, GiveSendGo.com/RenzLaw, or you can donate directly on TomRenz.com. But we need your donations, your support. They keep us fighting. They allow us to be funded to do this. They keep the show on the air. They keep Short Stack and producer Andrea way overpaid.
We go to the Bahamas every weekend with the money we make.
Obviously. Listen, producer Andrea has recently moved above minimum wage. So I don't know what she wants. I don't know. It's terrible. So please, if you want producer Andrea to continue and Short Stack Venky Rodriguez to continue to being paid above minimum wage, please donate, support, buy things. Life is good in the Renz world. Anyways, Terry, so again, one of the most foundational things that they talked about in the debate last night was the immigration issue. And it's been a disaster. It's been an outright disaster. It's been facilitated by our border czar, Kamala Harris. And it was interesting to hear Tim Walz try and do the same thing that Kamala Harris has tried to do, talk about joy and change when she's been in charge for 4 years. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, because Kamala has been in charge of the border for the last 4 years. How's it looking in Chicago? How's it looking?
Well, as everyone know, they got dumped off in the inner cities. They would take the buses from the Mexican border they would go into the cities. Then Mayor Brandon Johnson, I think more for show, said, you can't come in. We're going to impound your buses, right? So what they did, they just started, like I live in a nice western suburbs, all the train tracks run into the city. They started dumping off hundreds of buses at all the nice suburbs. And they'd have handlers. One kid, I got a confrontation with one of the kids. It had to be ex-military, and I found out from a military buddy, I forgot the name of the contract. They were paying them $400 a day plus expenses. So they come here, they drop them off. The second bus that was dropped off in my neighborhood, it was in December, and it was mostly men. And Andrea, if you have that one with the guy's tattoo on the top of his hand, that's Trendelargua. I didn't know it was Trendelargua. He's got.
Let me try to upload that now, guys.
Yeah, it's the closest up photo of all the ones I sent you, and that was at my train station. That guy walked from the bus to 50 foot to the train station. He just got off the bus from Mexico, and he's flashing his gang sign. So I know enough about the guy in the bottom left. That's the guy in my. That was in December. I knew he was in a gang. I knew he was Venezuelan. But if you guys remember, in late January when the police officer got beat up by 6 of them. And then came out, it was Trendelargua and their gang signs. I'm like, holy cow. So I have a little, I should have sent you the show. That's their gang sign right there. The other one is the V. And then, so that's a train station in December. The guy in the turquoise, they were selling stuff in front of the Pilsen Center, which kind of became national in the fall because of the CDC was there for the measles outbreak. You guys remember that? Or I don't know if it was just local to Chicago.
No, I knew there was a measles outbreak there.
Yeah, and then the guy in the middle on the bottom, that's at Gage Park. That's the southwest side where I grew up. I went there. There was 6 Venezuelans, and this was before I knew it was Trendelargua. And I tried to get in. I'm Italian. I look Spanish. I got into a few of the shelters. We'll talk about that later, but they caught me. They knew ahead of time. And these Venezuelan guys heard the people talking to me in Spanish and telling me not to come in. So he came. He followed me around the back and was flashing his Trendelargua gang sign. And then I didn't send you the video. I confronted him, right? I'm like, he's holding his hand. I'm like, what? As you would probably have done as well, Tom, right? Yeah. And then he pulled out his translator and it wasn't working. And he's holding his hand up, He didn't want me to film him. And then he pulls out another phone, the Obama phone, the Vortex phone. He's got both. He's got 2 phones in his hand.
Well, at least we're supplying them with Obama phones. That's important.
Yeah, I go, Americana, see, he understood that. And so these guys we're funding their shelter, or their clothing, their phones to commit crimes against us in our own communities. Now, the guy on the top right, and that video, and I think you saw it when it came out a long time ago, it went viral. Me and Ben Berquam, we were at the Pilsen Center, and we caught a drug transaction taking place. I caught it. I'm like, Ben, these guys are doing a drug deal. So I went behind them, and I was taking a picture, and they have the temporary plate, which you can't see, which is all warped and old and like irrelevant. And 3 of them got out. And I didn't know till last Thursday I had Dana Kennedy from the Post on my show, and I watched the video. I showed it beforehand, and the guy with the sweatshirt, right? It's hard to see. So their gang symbol, their colors is the Chicago Bulls. I don't know if you knew that, Tom. And no. That's from Venezuela. It's not because they're in Chicago. It has 0 to do with Chicago. That's their international symbol. When they got started, it was the Bulls. They love Michael Jordan. They love the number 23. So when I didn't know this, I'm sitting here watching as we're showing it on the cold opening, and I see these 2 little things sticking down from his hoodie. I'm like, what the hell is that? And as I got a better shot of it, it's Michael Jordan doing a dunk. It was his little legs sticking out. That's Trendelargua. And then Ben speaks some Spanish. And the Spanish he's asking them, and they said Mexico. They said they were Mexican, but then the Spanish people that watched the show, they said these guys are Venezuelans. And then I didn't know till last week that those are Trendelargua, and I caught him doing this drug transaction. We had a back and forth, and then a new Audi pulled up with a Spanish guy in it, and they sold drugs to that guy, all right across from a shelter. So there's other locations where we have Trendelargua throughout the city at multiple different locations and shelters.
You guys are seeing them. They're being given. By the way, as our hurricane victims are being told that they have today. We just had Mayorkas came out and said that there's no money in FEMA for hurricanes. But that's because FEMA has been directed by Harris and Biden to put all their money into these refugees that aren't refugees. They're actually imported criminals and gang members. So instead of helping in North Carolina, where they're giving 0, we're giving $200 billion to Ukraine, and we're giving God knows how many billions of dollars to illegals and providing them with cellular phones. We're giving them a place to live. We're giving them protection. We're allowing them to commit criminal acts with impunity. There are no laws for them. They are immune from everything. And they, in exchange, as gratitude for all that, they're selling drugs and committing crimes. Does that about sum it up?
Yeah. Think about it. When I was a bad guy back in the day, if I could go to a country that would fly me out there, give me clothes, give me phone, give me housing, and give me a get out of jail free card with my connections, it's like, why wouldn't you do that? Right? I mean, why not?
Makes good sense to me.
So these guys are clearly, I mean, they're loving it. I mean, they're living better in these nasty shelters and the good shelters and the apartments so they're already ahead.
Or the nice hotels.
Yeah, they're already ahead by where we're putting them up. Even, I mean, so they're ahead of the game. And then when they get arrested, oh man, I forgot to send you. I caught a illegal street takeover. Coincidentally, my daughter was in an art show in the city. And
Tell me about that. What's an illegal street takeover?
As we're talking around the break, I'll send it to Andrew. There's 200 and some motorcycles, dirt bikes, all Spanish speaking, no license plates except a few, masks at 31st and Halsted. I think it was Halsted or Ashland. 45 minutes. I went to the art show. They're there driving in circles in the median, on the sidewalk, doing wheelies, doing donuts in the middle of a busy intersection. And I talked to my police buddies. They can't even, I'm like, this has been there for 45 minutes. They can't even go after them. He told me we're not allowed to even go after them. And a lot of them are, as if you know about dirt bikes and quad racers, many of them are not even street legal. And during the commercial break, I'll send it to Andrea. You could show, I was like amazed. I made my 17-year-old son come with me. I know it's dangerous, but you talk about how men and stuff, right?
You gotta grow up.
I said, come on, of course I don't want to get shot. I don't want my kid to get shot. All that crap, but I made him leave, so we pull up and he sees him. He's like, oh, he's a jock kid. He's like, oh, Dad, you think I should wait in the car? I'm like, no. I go, here's what you do. Stay behind me and just smile and nod at him like you like their motorcycles, so we didn't look intrusive. He's Anthony. We look like Hispanics kind of, So I'm like, just nod your head and smile. And he stayed right behind me the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I asked him to take a video of me for the podcast, and he was all nervous. I'm like, take the damn. He was all scared.
Yeah. I
give him credit because I wanted him to get in a situation that he felt uncomfortable. That doesn't happen to kids anymore.
No. I mean, listen, it's a scary situation. You get into some of that stuff, and people don't understand. Some of these things, some of these people you're around, some of the things that you do, it can be scary. It can be scary.
Tom, that's why there's not enough men like us now at our age. You know what I mean? And it's even worse as you go younger. And then these people, they got soft because our parents always wanted to do better for us, right? Just like when my grandparents came from Italy, each generation done better. And I can't believe I'm living where I'm at now. I don't fit in with these doctors and stuff. I'm like the hillbilly, the whole subdivision. And then you want your kids to do good. All this stuff that they're getting, right? And they're losing the willingness to want to sacrifice to stand up for what's right because they're worried they might get attacked, be targeted like us, call them a racist or something like that. And, talking about the Civil War, I'm worried. We got all these guys that got AR-15. Oh, yeah, I'm ready for the war. I'm like, you're just a sissy. You won't even show up to a school board meeting and call out porn. You're sure not going to use your shiny AR-15 that's in the closet that you never shot but twice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get a boot out of that. I got me some guns. Yeah, your guns are going to do a lot of good against a drone, first of all, and second of all, I mean, we can't even get these guys to publicly talk about who they're going to vote for.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what they think. Hey, listen, if you want to do something, do something. Speak up, stand up. Buying a gun is a good thing. Everybody ought to have 10 of them, but listen, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to get to that. Nobody wants to get to a point where we need guns. I mean, the Second Amendment's there to defend the rest of them, and there's a reason for that. But no, we don't want that. Listen, that's not manly, okay? The idea that I bought my gun because I'm going to shoot everybody if they try and do that's not manly. That's stupid. That's just stupid. There's a difference between being a real man and listen, I got my guns. I know how to use them. I've been fighting since I was born. I know how to fight. I'm fine with all that. But I'm going to just tell you right now, I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
If you know how to fight, then you know that you don't want to. Because
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to fight, that means you fought. And if you fought, you know it hurts.
And you get hurt every time, even when you win, you get hurt.
Win or lose, it hurts every time. And you know, a real man understands that sometimes you have to fight,
Yep.
but you never look for it. You don't need to look for it. I will stand, and I can promise you, there are things I will die for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know that's not what makes you manly. What makes you manly is knowing that there's things that you'll stand for,
Mm-hmm.
but knowing that you'll do your best to not have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right up to selling out, though. We're not
Yep.
selling out. There are principles that are worth fighting for. So, anyways, I don't know. I agree with you, and there aren't enough men left in this country, and it's a sad state of affairs. And it is in part because we coddle our kids to the point that they grow up to be sissies, and then they get to college and they're looking, especially for the boys,
Yeah.
they get to college and they're looking for a girl, and these little college girls are told that they're princesses all the way through their life, and they get there and they want a prince that's going to read them poetry and do sad, sappy crap. And that's all great when you're 20 and have no cares and living on mommy and daddy's money at college. But when you turn 40 and the poo's hitting the fan and life is tough, you're going to want a man that actually knows how to stand up and fight for something. The poetry reading, safe space needing, crybaby sissy kind of loses its shine, I think, at some point.
Hey,
I don't know. I'll let women speak for themselves, though.
Tom, what's poo?
Well, it's
I'm trying to get him to screw up, Andrea. Sorry, I'm kidding.
no way, no way, man. I'm a professional here. We're not saying any of that anymore. No.
Don't be making more work for me, Terry. That's rude.
Yeah, she's got to deal with it when I do
I
that.
make just above minimum wage. I can't post edit. Okay.
So I have one more story that relates to this with my son. We went on spring break. The kids are seniors this year, right? So last spring we went, and we had to get our baggage. So I got boy-girl twins, and they're at the baggage claim at O'Hare. So you might have saw some of my confrontations. They got a center 24/7 intake center at the airport now. I had a bunch of confrontations. I mean, like get loud and yell at them at the NGO.
Tell me about the intake center at the airport. I haven't heard this.
Yeah, so right across from the Hyatt Hotel in Chicago, in the middle of O'Hare, there's a parking garage, and you might have saw Ben too. Like they were living on the first floor there. They had these black tarps for, they were living.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I know you've exposed that.
Yeah. So
they have an active illegal immigrant intake center in Chicago O'Hare right now.
Oh, 24/7, still there.
So this is something that people need to understand, folks. Kamala Harris's America includes Chicago O'Hare Airport having an active illegal immigrant intake center in there. We are paying for an active illegal immigrant intake center in Chicago. Now, that's just, think about that, folks. They can't, there's no money. Mayorkas just said, Mayorkas, who Jim Jordan and the GOP non-MAGA sellouts will not do anything for to impeach. Mayorkas just said that there's no funding for hurricane victims in North Carolina, but he's got funding for an intake center for illegal aliens in Chicago O'Hare Airport.
24/7, the minimum. They have somebody sitting there, speak Spanish, and then they have, every time I went there, the same two guards and two African-American guys, aviation security, by the way, sitting like this, half asleep, and then they see me, I have a confrontation. So when we were coming back to get the baggage, I was with my wife and my twins. I'm like, Aunt, you want to see what Dad does? Let's go Venezuelan hunting. My wife's like, no. I go, come on. So we right outside.
Your wife.
We go, yeah, she
must be a saint.
She's a saint. I feel so bad for her. So we go across the street, and we got the Hyatt on the left, and then the parking garage right across the street. So we go in there, and there's the guy there. They have one area blocked off with food and kids stuff, and like 15 signs in Spanish, roped off. It's the desk there, and then the guards are over there. And so I start talking to the guy again. I'm filming. My son's standing alongside me. Then I go to the guard, and he like makes a face. I go, hey, because he sees it. I go, my kid. I go, what's up? He goes, I go, what's going on? I go, where's everybody? He's like that. So I go back to the other NGO person, and they didn't see me before. And I'm like, is this where all these illegals come in? I don't know. I go, what are you doing here? I go, nothing. I go, nothing. I go, you're sitting in the middle of an airport. I go, who do you work for? He goes, nobody. I go, you're sitting behind the desk. I go, are you kidding? So we went back and forth. He goes, it's a great example you're teaching your son. I go, I'm teaching my son to be a blah, blah, blah American. All right. That's what I'm teaching my son. And then the African-American guy goes, I'm not American. I go, I would expect nothing else from you. He goes, what did you mean by that? So then
what the hell was he if he's not American?
Yeah, I know. It's like, so then we're
well,
going,
get the hell out. Go home.
So we're walking back, and then we go out the doors, and Anthony goes, Dad, a Chicago cop's coming after you. He's walking, right? He's all nervous, my kid. I go, here, I give him the phone. I go, all right, film this confrontation. And he comes out. He didn't look angry or anything. I said, did you see my confrontation in there? Oh, no, what confrontation? I go, with those guys that are helping the Venezuelans. And he rolls his eyes. He's like, so I knew he was on our side, right? Yeah. And I said, this is crazy, the stuff that's going on. I go, this is right after Ben and I had that confrontation with the drug deal. I had it on my phone. I just had it done. I go, look at this. And he's looking at my phone. He looks up. He goes, you know where they're getting those cars from? I go, yeah, they're stolen. He goes, no, Chicago. I'm trying to track this down, Tom. He goes, the pound, after 28 days, Chicago takes ownership. They go to the auctions. He goes, they're giving a bunch of them to the Venezuelans. I go, you're kidding me. He goes, no, they're giving them to the Venezuelans. My son was standing next to me. So I've been doing FOIAs, right? And some of them are rejecting me. The Chicago cops have been cool. I knew the cops don't do the giving away of once they impound, it's not their responsibility.
The cops are really in a bad spot.
Department of Sanitation, they keep bouncing me around. I'm trying to find some evidence of how they do that transaction, right? Yeah. So the cops always, like the FOIAs, they'll delay them, but they'll give them to me, right? Yeah. I got so much stuff that I'm going to share with you that we have to get out there and expose, because it's hardcore, real evidence to show how bad it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, I look forward to that, Terry. I mean, listen, so one of the things, because we're coming towards the end of the show, and one of the things I want to hit up, so you've been, and because, because of your background, I mean, you're a little bit of a shaky background. I mean, good man now, but, you had connections and you got credibility with people. And so you know some of the gangbangers and some of the guys, and they understand, folks, I'm talking about people who no one is going to try and tell you they're good guys. Okay. These are people who commit crimes, right up to and including murder. Okay. These are legit gang members. These are people who do things that are bad. But I'm going to tell you, we just have to understand this is a part of what's going on in America. Gangs and crime have been a part of Chicago forever. It doesn't make it okay. But right now there's something going on, and this is critical. And if you want to understand it, you got to communicate with these guys, right? So, Terry's been talking with some of these guys that run some of these gangs and doing some of this gang stuff right now. And what's going on is they're feeding, and you tell me if this is correct, Terry, and we're running up, so we got to be fast. Mm-hmm. These gang members are saying that things are getting set, and it looks like there's going to be a war between the American gangs and these foreigners that they're bringing in who are trying to take over. It ain't going to be good. This is going to be chaos in the streets, unless I missed my guess. What are you hearing?
It's going to be Chicago Part 2 from the Italian versus the Irish gang mobs from 100 years ago, except African Americans versus the Venezuelans and the Hispanic gangs, not the old school Latin kings. Once they get situated, there's going to be so much turf war over power, authority, weapons, drug terror. It's going to turn into war, except those people are not, and to your point, we're not doing a commercial for the gangs in Chicago, right? No. These people are not connected to our community anyway, so whatsoever.
Yeah.
They were raised even worse than some of these poor kids that were raised that are in gangs, right? And some of them don't have a choice. I get that. I'm not doing a commercial for them.
No, listen, we understand that. We can get into the reasons behind gangs and gang membership later. At the end of the day, though, I mean, it's bad to have criminal gangs here in the U.S. It's worse to have foreign invaders who, by the way, we're getting rumors and reports that through NGOs, and I'm going to say this for the record, I've got rumors and reports that I find credible, but I can't quite offer, I don't have the evidence to back up yet. We're getting reports that through NGOs and through some of these other entities that DHS, some of these guys, they're turning a blind eye. They know that these Venezuelan gangs, these gangs from these different countries, and it's different gangs in different cities, but they're being supplied with guns, with drugs, with all sorts of things through these NGOs, through affiliated partners. They know it's happening, but nobody's talking about it, and our government's turning a blind eye to it. By the way, support Terry. Terry's got a great, everything he does is great. Behind Enemy Lines podcast. He's got this. That's
my grift. That's my grift.
Yeah. So get it. Where can they find it?
Go Fighting Behind Enemy Lines. I have that T-shirt. You know, that's our border czar. Just like if you remember Biden, what I did at the gas pump. It's the Venezuelan coming into our neighborhood, our country. She did that. We need to give her credit for what she did.
Well,
we should
absolutely do. We need to high five her. She's doing a great job of destroying our country.
I even got mugs. I did that. Murder, rape, sexual assault, drugs. So yes, we got to give her credit.
Well, make sure you're supporting Terry Behind Enemy Lines. He's doing a lot of good work. Terry's become a good friend. Like I said, we've been doing some work on and off for quite a while. And, I got to say, as I go around the country, I meet every now and then I'll meet someone that's just willing to put it out there and to go after it. And Terry's been doing that. So if you don't know his work, make sure you're checking it out. It's worth a look. And this is Terry. What Terry's doing, without overselling it, is Terry is really a great example of local action, national impact. So, if you can, please make sure you're supporting Terry. Also, check us out, www.tomrenz.com. Check out our sponsors, our affiliates, givesendgo.com/RenzLaw. We need donations. You can donate at tomrenz.com or you can donate at the Give Send Go, but we do need your support. It keeps us going. We also need you check out bh-pm.com for gold. Just add it to your portfolio, add it to your retirement account. Also check out Cardio Miracle. Use it to protect your cardiovascular system. Check out all of our affiliates. We've got a ton of stuff. TomRenz.com affiliates. You'll see it right there at the top. Your support keeps us going. Terry, you're gonna have to come back soon because we got a lot more to talk about on this, and you got a lot of data.
I want to
kind of comb through it.
You could promote it better than we have stuff that I'll work with Andrea, so you could push it out there. And then, like for me, folks, if you guys go to Behind Enemy Lines on Rumble, I'm trying to build that up. Or if you go to X at Terry Newsom 357, Tom and I are connected. Yep. Great.
Yeah, make sure you're checking out Terry's. Make sure you're supporting his work. Help him in any way you can, and also support us. Terry, appreciate you coming on, and we're gonna definitely have to come back and follow up on this more and find out more about what's going on. But man,
cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.